social change I wanted to implement through my art form was bringing music to every corner using my instrument. So my idea of everything is that I like to see myself as though I'm planting seeds around me, and these seeds grow all these flowers of music. It's a funny image, but I like to see of music as though it's some kind of a nursery, and that it's so abundant we're practically breathing it in. And this idea I had came to me from a vision I had in the summer break. I thought to myself, you know, wouldn't it be interesting if I could play my guitar in different parts of the school and almost make the instrument inseparable to me? And that was something that came to mind, but then I remember putting it aside because I thought it would be a little bit much and not possible. And then it was funny because in the beginning of this semester I had a class with Dr. Burley Nugent, and she had us do an assignment which was to go around the school and ask various people a bunch of questions and make a conversation with them. And it was her way of getting us to know our community and know people better. My friend and I decided to go to the Wigs and Makeup, which I'd never actually been to before in my time here. I've been here 5 years, so it was interesting. I never went down there, and I noticed how quiet it was and how there was just literally no sound, and I asked them if I could play music for them. And the staff really agreed to it. And since then I've been playing there every week because it's something I love to do, and I kind of think of it as though I'm going back to the roots of this idea that I had, and it means a lot to me. And then I had this class, and then we were asked to do a project, and then I thought this would be perfect to implement what I've been doing into as my project for social change. So after my first experience playing in the Wigs and Makeup, I felt that the responses were really positive and people felt extremely uplifted from music, that I decided to take the guitar and go to other parts of the building. So I went to the costume shop, the prop shop, and I got some really interesting reactions there. And then I decided to see what it would be like if I could go into the offices. And I remember thinking this might be a little out there, but the first thing I can recall was when I saw Teresa McKinney, and I told her, oh look, I really want to play in the offices, should I do it, should I not? And she was really encouraging and told me, you know, you should just go for it. So I did. And I found myself going into the offices and saying, hi, I'd love to play some music for you, you know, if it's distracting, give me a no. If it's not, I'd be happy to sit and play. And I did, and I played for them, and it was just so much fun getting to know different people and sharing music with everyone. I mean, it was funny because sometimes people were confused and they thought that we'd run out of practice rooms. But when I clarified to them it was something I just really wanted to do for fun, it turned out all pretty interesting and a fun approach to bringing music into our community. And my hope by doing this was to demonstrate the love I have for this institution. It really means a lot to me, and I feel this love for the institution particularly when I graduated this May. And I remember the feeling I had being detached from the school, and when I graduated, and that feeling of not being there anymore, and it made me feel like a huge nostalgia towards the place, because I really appreciate the warmth of the community and just how wonderful the staff and everybody is in being here and making our journey as artists possible. And actually one of the greatest gifts I have playing in the offices is seeing what goes on behind the scenes. You know, seeing all the things that people are going through to make every day for us possible. So I like to see this social change as bringing gratitude to the school I'm in, because I truly appreciate it. And so once I'd been playing in the offices for quite a while, I then decided to take it to another level. And I was inspired by the dancer Little Buck, because I saw him dancing once, and I really loved the way that he was just so connected with his art form. It's almost as though him as a dancer and himself are inseparable. And I wanted to be like that. And I thought that perhaps the only way I could is to just be inseparable with my instrument. So I wondered what it would be like if I could just carry my guitar with me everywhere I go. And I thought to myself, well, I have a guitar, I have a strap, and I may as well just see what would happen if I decided to walk around the corridors of the building and play music. And I remember the night before I decided to put this idea into action, I felt really nervous about it because it was certainly going out of the comfort zone, and I don't consider myself much of an extroverted person, so to do that was a leap for me, but it was worth it. So on the day I did it for the first time, I remember going around from the mailroom all the way through the elevators to the productions and coming back, and it took I think about 2 to 3 hours doing it, because each time I've been doing it actually. So it's because when I do it, some people from the offices would invite me to come in and play some pieces for them. And it's just a lot of fun walking through the corridors and actually seeing what's around me, or even if it's just seeing the posters hung up with art history and the artists that have come here, and seeing all these conductors and dancers that we've had. Even just looking at that as I'm playing is really a gift to me. Also seeing the staff, especially seeing the staff lifted and happy by seeing music and coming out from their workspaces and together as a community was a huge gift to me. And what I really appreciate from these experiences is using music as a buffer, my instrument as a buffer between the concert hall and the public. So my hope is that on a larger scale outside of Juilliard, I could take this approach into the world and bring music to unconventional venues to kind of engage people into classical music and expose them if they haven't had that kind of exposure. And this kind of makes them more interesting coming to concerts because they've had some kind of interest in it. It's almost like they've had a trailer of what's going on. And one thing that I really appreciate, especially from the experience, was seeing members of the security singing along to the pieces I was playing and remembering the melodies and knowing them as well as I know them, and I've played them for so long, but they know it even better, and it's amazing. And I love that because I was literally seeing them as though they're breathing the music, and it makes you think that everyone has an artist in them. You know, whether they're musicians or not is irrelevant, because the fact that they would stand there and hum the music and sing along was just such a treat to me. And my hope, it reminds me so much of what VJ actually said, where he goes, sometimes it's enough just coming up to a performance and playing, that can be more than enough. And it makes me think similarly about classical music. I think that classical music is enough and it stands alone, and that sometimes the reason why it doesn't get the attention it can get is because we just don't share it enough. That's what I would like to conclude from this project. Another aspect I noticed was reactions I had towards the recital I'm going to give in a week from these experiences. So usually I like to hand out flyers and invite people to come and watch. And I've done this for quite a while now. I did it last year with my friend, and we got positive reactions when we invited people, but this time when I invited, there was more engagement in it, and I felt that because they'd seen me play, they'd heard music, they know the guitar repertoire a little more, there was more of a connection between me and the audience before the concert began. And this actually also reminds me of something that VJ said, where he goes, sometimes the performance doesn't begin from the first note. It can begin where I think it can begin wherever you want it to begin from. And so there's more engagement to come to the recital, there's more interest. And I thought it was so fascinating to see kind of two experiences back to back mirrored, and seeing the comparison of using this approach versus not using this approach. And I hope to continue pursuing this project because I really love it.